Hi everybody, Lori Rappy here from Thrive Functional Wellness Center here with
Dr. Rappy.
Dr. Rappy. We are going live. Excited to be here. While we wait for people to come on, we'll do our usual little banter. Today we're going to be talking about the brain-gut connection. We've got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to talk about. We're excited. Hi Yolanda, welcome. Nice to see you.
Hello.
And so while people are getting on again, today we're going to be talking about brain gut. If you can hear us, thank you for the thumbs up.
Thumbs up,
little
high five.
hearts, all that, just so that we know. Look, I've got a little announcement saying we're live. Let me turn that off.
Let's leave that alone. It'll go away by itself.
All right, everybody. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to recap a little bit of what we talked about last week, because we talked about a lot of cool gut stuff. We talked about leaky gut. We talked about gas, bloating, poop issues, Crohn's, IBS. We talked about a lot of good stuff. Today we're going to kind of take it to the next level of talking about brain-gut connection, and we're going to try to make it fun and fast and exciting and all that. So thank you for everybody that's on, and give us a little thumbs up so we know you can see us and hear us all right. So very fun. So here in La Quinta, for all of our local people, it's kind of windy.
It's getting cloudy. It looks like it might even rain out there. So buckle up. It's going to be 94 this weekend.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And
Great for us and a bummer for everyone else.
You know, I was in Seattle last weekend.
Hey, Joan.
Hi everybody. Hi,
Steve.
Joan, Steve. Thanks everybody for being here. We're super excited. We are going to start in just a minute. Also, anybody who has friends, family, please share this information and share this link so they can come on and hear. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff. Cholesterol, Alzheimer's, brain-gut connection. Dr. Rappy's going to be answering a lot of great questions. I'm
going to do the best I can. I also just wanted to remind everybody, I believe that this is recording and that it can be watched at a later date. So if you like what you hear and you think it's going to be valuable to one of your family members, a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, or somebody that might be struggling, maybe you notice they're struggling and they don't, then by all means, share it with them. It really could be an important change in their life, and you might do something wonderful and it might affect their future in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I agree. And if they're on Facebook right now, you can share the link too. And in the intro, we've also shared a link for scheduling a free call. I know Julie's going to put the link in the comments too, so any point you want to do that. Well, let's kind of introduce ourselves and move along, because again, there it is. There's a link for how to schedule a free discovery call with me. I'm the clinic director and the health coach. So again, welcome everybody. Lori Rappy, Thrive Functional Wellness Center here in La Quinta, California. And
hi, I'm Dr. Rappy. La Quinta, California. I've been in private practice for 31 years. I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner, and some of the people that are watching I've worked with, and we've worked with people all over the country, including people in Canada. So for those of you who have a family member or friend who doesn't live in this area, we can work with them remotely. We do it all the time. And so just keep that in mind as well. But we're here in La Quinta, but our reach is nationwide. So keep that in mind.
And that's good to share.
Yeah.
And that was even before COVID. So I know everyone is remote, but we were working with people remotely for years. So again, we're going to be talking about the brain-gut connection. As I mentioned earlier, last week we really dove into leaky gut, gas, bloating, all different types of gut issues. But today I'm going to be asking Dr. Rappy the most commonly asked questions about the brain-gut connection. So, and we have a functional medicine office here in La Quinta. Like Dr. Rappy said, we work with people remotely everywhere. So I'm just going to dive in, okay?
Dive
Sound
in,
good? Okay.
head first, point your toes.
I have my cheat sheet. He doesn't, but I do.
She told me I couldn't have a cheat sheet.
Okay, so here we go. The first question is, does the brain actually connect with the gut?
Of course it does. That's a silly question. It's all connected. But in this particular case, there's a vagus nerve that connects the brain to the gut. It's one of the longest nerves in the body, and it's really important. It has an effect on a lot of crucial functions in the body. So the brain and the gut are connected, and everybody listening today, think about this. You're driving in a city, you're visiting some relatives, you're driving around at night, maybe you get lost, and all of a sudden you have that feeling and you go, oh, don't go there, don't turn there. It's that connection from the brain to the gut. It's that gut feeling. It's people say all the time, oh, I had that gut feeling not to do that, right? That's the brain-gut connection that we're talking about. And it's really important to listen to that. It can play an important role in your mood. It can play an important role in your thought process. It can play an important role in everything. And it works both ways. It goes from the brain to the gut and from the gut to the brain. It's a loop. Okay? It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. We all know that gut feeling. I know I'm really big on the gut feeling.
So to finish up that question,
yes.
Remember this is really important. We're going to say this 2 or 3 times, so I just want to put it out there at the beginning. What happens in your gut happens in your brain. So if you got trash in your gut, you're going to have trash in your brain, right? So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so when we think about what we're eating, if we can think about that that's going to our brain
Not
too.
good.
Yeah, that's really good. And it also, I know it plays a big role in inflammation and other chronic diseases as well.
Yes.
Okay. Ready for the next question?
Ready for the next question.
Can the gut microbiota affect behavior and emotion?
The microbiota, the microbiome, oh my goodness, all these fancy words. The bottom line is yes. Your gut can affect your mood and how you think and all of those things. And let me give you an example. So there was some research that was done, and they fed mice a probiotic. It's called Lactobacillus rhamnosus. They fed this to the mice, and this particular probiotic has GABA in it, and GABA plays an important role in brain function, as well as it can have a calming effect on stress. And so they fed it to these mice, and in their research, they concluded that because they fed this probiotic and what GABA was in it, that it literally affected brain chemistry. So we know that what happens down here can affect what goes on up here. As well, most people don't know this, but if you look at just depression, which is rampant in the United States, the medical model's #1 process when it comes to depression. So if you walk in your doctor's office and the doctor says, well, how you doing? And you say, well, I guess I'm all right. Immediately, you're going to get a prescription for what? Antidepressants. And those things, you'll be on them forever because they're really hard to get off of. So the key is this. If I don't have a properly functioning gut and I'm not producing the #1 neurotransmitter associated with depression is called serotonin, and 80% of it's manufactured in my gut. So if I've got leaky gut, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, diverticulitis, Crohn's, if I've got any of those things, or I'm in a dysbiotic situation, meaning the bad bacteria have overgrown good bacteria, and I'm not making enough serotonin, I'm going to have episodes of depression, which could lead to the medical model giving me antidepressants. So we don't want that. The first question your doctor should ask before he writes you a prescription for antidepressants is, how many times a day do you poop? We need to know, because that's going to tell us about gut function. So it's really important. If the gut doesn't work, I don't make the neurotransmitters that could cause me to be depressed, I might end up on a drug without necessarily needing it. So it's really important the way the gut and the brain connect. Again, there's all kinds of bad bacteria that can overgrow. They produce toxins, and those can leak through and get into our brain. A lot of research also has shown that some of the bad guys, if you will, that get through the wall of the intestines actually can be seen on an electron microscope in the brain. It's really amazing. So it's important to understand what happens in your gut happens in your brain.
Yeah, who can relate to that? Gives a thumbs up, right?
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what happens. So, okay, I really like this one. Can diet change the gut bacteria?
Yes, of course it can. Now, I'm going to say this, and don't everybody run out and say, Dr. Rappy said I had to eat sauerkraut, but a prebiotic, keyword prebiotic and probiotic. So prebiotics can really set me up to have a greater number of the good bacteria. Remember, good and bad bacteria. So we know that certain foods can change what's going on in my intestinal tract. So we want to stay away from processed foods, foods that are processed with all, think about the chemicals, the preservatives, the additives, the colors, the fillers, and all that toxic garbage, including some products have carcinogenic products in them, right? So we want to stay away from that because that can have this incredibly large negative impact on us. So food plays an important role. Your medical doctor might not agree with you, but the fact of the matter is we know it can. Let's say you're somebody who has maybe an allergy towards spicy foods or a specific type of spice. Let's say paprika, right? Smoked paprika. And it's on something you don't know, and all of a sudden it sends you into this whole issue where I've got diarrhea, now I've got my bacteria all off, and it can really have a dramatic effect. So it's important to understand that. Let me see. What was the rest of the question? I want to make sure I answered everything.
So can diet change the gut bacteria?
Yes, absolutely. They also have found this. This is fascinating. So pay close attention because you may have a relative, a family member, friend, a coworker, a neighbor, somebody you may know that maybe has a child or a family member who has autism or ADHD. Studies have shown that food can play a dramatic role in those particular neurodegenerative or neurocognitive issues in people. It's really important. There's plenty of people out there that when we've talked to them, maybe they have a child who's ADHD and they want to put them on some kind of medication, which is horrible. We'll talk to the parents, say, let's clean up the gut, clean, cleanse, and repair, get the bacteria in the appropriate levels and balance in the gut. Get them off of certain things that are really bad for us, like gluten and wheat and grains and dairy. Next thing you know, their autistic child or their ADHD child is completely changed. They'll say to us, it's like they're a different person. So it really plays an important role. And it's not just us saying it. We've experienced it in a clinical setting, but there's lots of research to validate that and back it up.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And the people that work with us in our wellness program, the people that we see, whether in the office, remote, once we address the nutrition, and we do it in the program, the changes we see in people.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, yes, their energy, their mood, their clarity. It's pretty amazing.
It really
People
is.
don't give enough credit to what the food and the brain function, how that's happening. It's amazing what we see.
And so most of you may have experienced this as well, and this will make sense. When you're in dysfunction long enough, that dysfunction becomes your normal. That becomes your comfort zone, your normal. So you don't know any different. So when we work with people, the reason we see such dramatic changes when they do the work that we ask them to do and we walk them through this path is that all of a sudden they're not in dysfunction anymore. And so the veil is lifted and now they're back to like, wow, I can't believe how amazing I feel. Because they've been so dysfunctional for so long, that's normal to them.
Right.
And so it's really important. That's why we see such dramatic changes.
And we see a lot of that in spouses, right? One spouse will say, oh, I'm fine. And the other spouse will say, actually, honey, you're not fine. Your energy, you're not the person I married. And they don't even realize it because so often we just settle for how we feel.
Yeah.
And I think during COVID and just in general, we settle for how we feel. And we're just huge proponents for giving hope, and you don't have to feel this way.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so that was good. I like how you answered that one. Okay, so tell me a little bit about cholesterol. This is a really hot topic. So
okay, so we're going to chat. Cholesterol is not part of the whole brain gut scenario, but I want to bring it up because it has it's important with regards to our brain and our cells. So what's important about cholesterol is it's been given a bad rap for many, many, many years, and the pharmaceutical industry or big pharma has made billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars putting people on statins that really don't need statins. You've got to understand what cholesterol does in the body. It has three main functions. Number one, it's important for brain function. If we look back at the Framingham study that was done, that was the main study that was done to show that statins and their effectiveness. What they found is that when you lower someone's cholesterol too low, they start to develop dementia. Okay? And the reason is because cholesterol plays an important role in brain function. Here's an example. In your body right now, as you're watching this video, your brain, 25% of all the cholesterol in our body, it resides in our brain, but our brain only makes up 2% of our body weight. So it's that important to your brain function. And again, those studies showed that lowering your cholesterol too low, you develop dementia, or you'll start to see the onsets of dementia. We've seen it in the office clinically. Yeah. We've had a couple come in and they're sitting in the room and I'm doing an interview and a history taking, and one of them just isn't connected. And then I'll ask one of the other spouses at an opportune moment, I'll say, has this been going on for a while? And they say, well, it's been going on for maybe 2 years. I said, well, what happened before that? And they'll start to think, and I'll keep asking questions. It turns out that once they started taking the statins, that's when they started developing this cognitive dysfunction, okay, because they were taking a statin and it lowered their cholesterol too low. So we've seen it clinically. That patient would then contact their doctor, and their doctor would say, well, you should really be on it, and blah, blah, blah. And they say, well, I want to see what happens when I get off of it. Brain function comes back. It's amazing. It's really dramatic. In addition to that, besides brain function, on a cellular level, every single cell in your body has a membrane around it, and that membrane is made up of lipids or fats. So whenever there's cellular damage or membrane damage, the only thing your body needs, the number one thing your body needs to repair that damage is cholesterol. So if I don't have enough, I can't repair, I'm going to grow old fast. I'm going to degenerate, and I'm just going to fall apart. Okay? Number 3 is hormone production. Sex hormone production. Cholesterol is what we call upstream from that. So if I don't have appropriate levels of cholesterol, down from there is where my estrogens and testosterones are manufactured. You've got to have the right amount of cholesterol. We know and studies show that once you get below 150, you don't have enough cholesterol to make hormones, so you're going to be in hormone deficiency or hormone imbalance. So I either won't remember how to get home so I can see my wife or who my wife is. 2, I'm going to get old fast. My wife's going to get rid of me and get a younger model. And 3, if I don't have sex hormones, how am I going to love my wife? Okay, so it's really important to understand cholesterol is really, really good for us. It's not the bad guy like everybody makes you think.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody on here knows someone that's taking a statin. Give us a thumbs up if you know.
Lots of people.
Yeah, and I think there's so much mixed information out there about cholesterol, and we see so many people that, because people worry when it's too high, but I don't feel it gets the same attention when it's too low.
Right.
So
and
again, I like that.
Just as a disclaimer, I'm not telling you to stop taking your statins. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
We need to look at it and identify if it's really something that's necessary, because diet, the vast majority of time, diet and exercise and supplementation can deal with any type of cholesterol issue unless it's more of a congenital or a congenital issue. Okay? So that's important.
Okay, so quickly, just a couple little things. Tell me a little bit about how important are omega-3s.
Omega-3s are huge.
A lot about that.
Omega-3s are huge. That's the EPA and the DHA in there. Those are omega-3 oils. It's really important that we get enough of those in our diet and or through supplementation to make our brain function. What's fascinating also about omega-3s is that if you're on a blood thinner, your doctor will give you specific instructions. Do not take omega-3 oils. Period. Why? Because it acts as a blood thinner. Imagine that. Big Pharma doesn't want you to know that if I take a high dosage of omega-3 oils, which are really good for my brain and they're really good for my body, if I take a high enough dose of that, I'm going to get the same blood thinning effect that I would if I took Eliquis or any of the Plavix, any of the other blood thinners that you see out there. So that's why a doctor will tell you, don't take omega-3 oils if you're on one of these drugs. Warfarin, okay? So they're incredibly important. They're amazing for us.
Yes. The good fats,
the
right?
Good fats.
That's what we're talking about.
All the good fats.
Okay, so I really, we just have a few more questions we're going to go through. This is a really important topic. Alzheimer's. Alzheimer in the
Alzheimer's.
brain. So what's the connection? We're talking about brain, gut, Alzheimer's. This is really important right here.
So this topic of Alzheimer's is really important because I think at this point it affects 85 million Americans. Alzheimer's is one of the 7 different stages or levels of dementia. It's one of the dementias. The key is this, is if you're on here or you know somebody, a relative, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a nephew, a coworker, a friend, somebody you know that has a familiar Alzheimer's, meaning Alzheimer's runs in their family, it's important for that person to take action now because we want to do everything we can preventative to either stop it completely or to slow the process. And so it's really important. Think of it like this. If I have gut issues, particularly leaky gut, and I have all these toxins that are slipping into my bloodstream, they're now breaching what's called the blood-brain barrier. They've used electron microscopes, and they literally are seeing that what leaks through here can be found on the brain. And so with Alzheimer's, it's important, if it runs in the family, it's important for you to do everything you can to keep your brain as healthy as possible for as long as possible. So staying it off, stay it longer, the longer. Look, if I get Alzheimer's when I'm 95, that's better than when 65, okay? So you want to think of it like that. Let me give you one more example. Heart disease. I hear this all the time. Oh, heart disease runs in my family. It's that person's already given up that I'm going to get heart disease. It doesn't work like that. Right. You can make appropriate changes and do the right work that you can either reduce or eliminate the possibility of you getting heart disease, okay? So it's not just because my uncle had it, doesn't mean I have to have it.
It's the choices that we make.
Choices that we make, okay?
Yeah.
3 to 5% of what happens to you in your health is genetic. The rest is really based on what you choose to do, okay? It's very simple.
So we actually have a lot more control over these things that can happen to us.
Exactly.
And so that's what we like and kind of where we come in. We said at the beginning how we have a functional medicine wellness program, and we really start off with blood work, a really comprehensive blood work. We want to identify the underlying issues. By doing that blood work, we're doing like a screenshot of where you are right now, so we can identify them, so then we can address them.
Right. We want to look at organ systems. How are they working? What's going on with your liver? Do I have insulin resistance? What's really happening? Kidneys, gallbladder. We want to identify all that because your body works as a single unit, not as one organ. And so the labs that we run is like Lori was saying, it's a great screenshot of where are you now, and it'll help us understand what do we need to do so that when we start to walk into our detox, which is really clean, cleanse, and repair. If we can clean, cleanse, and repair this, we can have an effect on our body's entire physiology.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so we have a link in the comment in the feed too about the first step is you could always just order your blood work, contact us, but you can also do a free discovery call with me. And the purpose for that is just to spend a few minutes to see if our program would be a good fit for you. Those red flags that you have, some people are already having health issues. Some people want to do it preventative because let's look at the blood work so that we can see what's going on and let's stop it from progressing. So that's really where we step in. And I have to say, COVID has affected everybody, has affected us internally, the stress and all that. So we need to get ahead of it by doing something now. So
I'm going to answer the question. I see somebody's got a question here. The source of cholesterol has to matter as well with where it comes from. Some of the lines. Carnivore diet. So let's just talk that really quick. I did the carnivore diet, which means I ate nothing but meat for 8 weeks. I ran my blood work afterwards. Had no effect. It did not change my cholesterol levels at all. Meat is not going to drive your cholesterol up. That's a fallacy. Meat doesn't cause diabetes. Animal-based proteins don't cause diabetes and cancer and all that. That's propaganda that's driven by certain special interest groups. So we don't look at it like that. I've had people with high cholesterol, 240, 280, 275, somewhere in there. And when we ran a special test to identify their risk factor, okay, we were able to look at the particle sizes and identify what their risk factors really were. So you can go really deep and look at a lot of biochemical stuff to identify what someone's risk factor is. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest that a carnivore diet will increase it. We've actually seen vegans and vegetarians that have higher cholesterol because they're not getting what they need, appropriate fats, and so their liver is cranking out cholesterol as fast as possible. So it's really important to know there's so many different factors involved.
Yeah, a lot of different factors. And again, I'm just looking at the time. We've been trying to keep these kind of short and fun, and you did a great job answering all those.
Get the tape out.
You did a great job.
I can't help myself. It's just there. It wants to come out, right?
So much good information. Yeah. And so again, the link is there. You can share it with your friends and family. I appreciate everybody that was here. So we are going live. This, we've done it a few times now, and
this is live?
We're kind of getting the hang of it. Next Tuesday, we have a treat because we're actually going to be coming live from our kitchen. Yes, so we're going to do a deep dive into our pantry, our fridge, and we're going to be sharing with you all of our healthy swaps. So what are healthy swaps? They're basically the substitutes. We're going to literally pull out from our fridge. We're going to give you our favorite substitutes for noodles, pasta, dressings, oils, tortillas, wraps. It's really my passion project, food. I love food, and we love to eat, and we are on this healthy journey with all of our wellness members and with everybody, so it's really important to find those healthy substitutes. And I have to tell you, you can honestly find probably 99% healthier substitute for your food. So
and I love this one we get all the time. What am I supposed to eat? What am I going to eat? And we're like, there's so much. It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
And Lori is an amazing chef. I got to say, I'm the luckiest guy around because I take her to dinner only because so she doesn't have to do anything. But she's an amazing cook. So it's going to be fun. It'll be a fantastic. So make sure you tune in next week.
Yeah, tune in and share this with your friends. And again, we really appreciate you being here with us. If you have any questions, please comment below. We'll look at them. As well, if there's any topics that you'd love to hear us talk about, or for me to ask the doctor the questions, just let me know, because we want to bring value to you. We want to give you hope. We want to help you be more preventative and be more of an advocate for your health. So again, thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.